Tonight I'm going to be making a casserole. I ate this the first time with a friend of mine. She's my ODG, and she will know what that means. I never got the recipe for it from her, so I've just played around with it over the years to try to get it similar, close to it. She called it chicken enchilada casserole. I call it Mexican chicken and dumplings because that's what it reminds me of, is chicken and dumplings, but with a little Mexican taste to it. It's very easy to make. The first thing I'm going to do is cut up a small yellow onion and come saute it in my pot over here. And then we're going to saute some green chilies in there with it. And we're going to add some cream of mushroom soup and velveeta and sour cream and a little chicken broth. And we're going to mix that all together and put some rotisserie chicken in it. And then we're going to layer all that in a baking dish with some tortillas, flour tortillas. And we're going to let that bake a little while. And then we're going to put some shredded cheese on top and let that melt. And that's all there is to it. So the first thing I'm going to do is chop up a small yellow onion. So I got 2 tablespoons of butter in my pan right here. And I'm super excited to say that I get to use this spoon today. I have been waiting for this spoon. It's from Go Cook Dat. You can find them on Etsy and also on Facebook. It is very well balanced. It's very substantial, and it's a beautiful spoon. I saw this for the first time on a cooking group on Facebook, and I absolutely just had to have one. It was just the prettiest spoon I had ever seen, and it's made here in Louisiana. And this is something, I will keep this spoon forever. It's not just a cheap spoon, wooden spoon you buy at the store. It is very, very well made out of oak. And it's very special to me, and I will be keeping it forever. I'm excited to be cooking with it today. So I've got 2 tablespoons of butter in here, and I'm going to put my onions in. Just going to stir these around and let them saute. And he had told me that it's curved right here to fit into the curves of pots. And while I'm using it right now, it fits perfectly into that curve of that pot while still being flat to scrape the bottom, which is that's very unique. And like I said, these spoons are made here in Louisiana. They're made out of oak. He has different colors of them. I think there's like torch burn, different stains, or different colors of them. But you should definitely go check it out if you're in the market for a spoon, or if you're obsessed with wooden spoons like I am. You'll want to add one of these to your collection. So I'm just going to let my onions cook down, let them saute. I'm going to go ahead and open my cans of chilies. I'm using the 4-ounce diced green chilies, the mild ones. You could use hot if you want hot. I like the mild, but I'm going to go ahead and open these 2 cans of them, and I'm not going to drain the liquid. I want that liquid. And like I said, this recipe, the first time I ate this, was a dear friend of mine, and she called it chicken enchilada casserole. And I never got the recipe. I had watched her make it one time and kind of remembered some of the ingredients. So I've messed around with it, trying to make it, as close to that as it was. I call mine Mexican chicken and dumplings because it reminds me of dumplings, but with a Mexican flavor to it. So I don't have the exact recipe as hers. I think it's pretty close. And honestly, each time I make this, it's something different. So this is the first time I'll be getting measurements on it and writing it down. While those are cooking, I'm also going to open a can of golden mushroom soup. This and the chilies is what I remembered from my friend's recipe. That's about all I remembered, was the chilies and that it has to be golden mushroom. But it doesn't have to be golden mushroom, because sometimes it's hard to find this. And I have made this with just regular cream of mushroom soup. I've used it with the garlic cream of mushroom soup, and it was good too. So you should have golden mushroom, but you don't have to. You can use regular mushroom too. So I'm just going to get this open, and this is just a regular 10.5-ounce can. Y'all, this weather is so crazy down here. Yesterday I had to put shorts on because I was burning up. And this morning I had shorts on. And then around lunchtime I went outside and it's cold again. So now I've got leggings and sweatshirts and we're all bundled up trying to stay warm. It's crazy. But my onions are ready. I'm going to put my 2 cans of chilies in there. Just going to stir those around and let them cook for just a minute. Just going to let some of that liquid cook out that's in the can of them. So I'm going to bring that up to a boil and then turn that down to simmer for just a minute. Alright, so there we go. It's boiling. I'm going to turn that back down to medium high and just let that simmer and let some of that liquid reduce out. Alright, now I'm going to put some seasoning in here. Just going to put a little bit of salt, not much, because that canned soup has a lot of sodium in it. You could know I love my Cavenders. I'm going to put, if I can find it, some fajita seasoning. This is just Fiesta fajita seasoning. So put a little bit of that. I wish I had a pack of ranch to stick up in there, but I don't. Some black pepper, a little bit of Tony's, onion powder, and garlic powder. Give that a stir. Y'all, this spoon stir is really, really good. It's like the Cadillac of spoons. The Cadillac of roux spoons. The Cadillac of wooden spoons. Now I'm going to put my can of golden mushroom in there. See if it'll fit. Oh, it fits inside a can too to scrape all the stuff out. That's definitely a plus in my book. I love a spoon that'll fit inside the can to get it all out. That's very important to me. Whoop. Of course, I slung that on the stove. It gets the stuff out of your can, but it don't keep you from slinging stuff all over the stove. Alright. Now I'm going to try to measure. I've got an assortment of measuring cups over here. Let's see. I'm going to try 1/3 cup of chicken broth and see how that looks. Like I said, I usually don't measure this. I just put a bunch of stuff in this pot together. Alright, I'm just going to go with that for right now. I'm also going to put 4 ounces of velveeta cheese. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but on the packages of velveeta, can y'all see that? Probably not. Yeah, see it says 2 ounces. Just like a stick of butter has measurements, on the velveeta pack, it has that also in 2 ounce increments. So I'm going to be putting 4 ounces of velveeta cheese in here. And I am going to let this come to a simmer while I'm doing all this. And to wash my hands. Alright, I'm going to get this melting and see if I'm going to need more chicken broth. So that was 1/3 cup of chicken broth I put in. 4 ounces of velveeta. 2 cans of chilies. 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm just saying all this so I'll remember to remember what I need to write down. And I love casseroles. To me, it seems like at some point about 15-20 years ago, people started hating casseroles. But I love casseroles. I think they're comfort food, you know, and they're wonderful. They're easy. They're cheap. They make a lot for everybody, you know, easy to feed your family. Just throw something together, put it in the oven, and you fed your family. You can have all 5 food groups in there if you do it right. I think I am going to put a little bit more. I'm going to put 1/4 more of chicken broth in there. So I don't know what that would be. 1/3 plus 1/4. What's 1/3 plus 1/4? I'll figure it out. Just gonna let that melt together real good. Now I'm going to figure out how much sour cream I need to put in here. Alright, I'm going to start with 1/3 cup of sour cream. That looks about how much I usually put in. I usually just go off of globs, like a big glob of this, a big glob of that. And that's usually what my glob looks like. Alright, I'm just going to let this melt down and get all incorporated. And I'm going to put another 1/3 of a cup of chicken broth in here to loosen it up. Looks good. So I put 2/3 plus 1/4, and I'll figure out what that measurement is in a little bit. Alright, so all that's melted down, so we're going to move over here and start laying our casserole. Alright, well our sauce is ready to go. It's very easy. Just saute your onions, throw all your stuff in there, get it mixed together. If you didn't want onions, you could skip that part. Booger is over there playing a game. If it sounds like a bomb siren that's going off, that's what that is. So now I've just got a rotisserie chicken, just a plain old rotisserie chicken from the grocery store, and I'm just going to debone it and just put it in our sauce. As soon as I'm done deboning this, I'll show you what to do next, and I might eat a few pieces of this chicken too. So Booger informed me that whenever you hear that bomb siren sound, that means that the zombies are coming. So just in case y'all needed to know that, for future reference, that's what that is. And Drubert Breezy down here, he's skimming the floor. He's on the prowl for anything that I may drop, which will be quite a lot. And he can tell that it's chicken, so this is a good day for him. It's like he's hit the lottery. Alright, so I got my chicken deboned. I'm just going to stir that around in here. Get it mixed in evenly with our sauce. Now we're just going to layer this. I pour a little bit of chicken broth in the bottom. Not much, just a little bit. And roll it around just to coat it. And I'm going to take some tortillas, and I take them, like, tear them in half. And that, tear them again, and just lay them around the bottom. It's really not much to it at all. Just lay those all around the bottom. And I've got my oven preheated for 350 so that it'll be ready to go. Now we're going to put a layer of this. And while I'm doing this, Drubert Breezy's down there cleaning up all the stuff that I dropped. He's our janitor. But he's very happy to have that job, I promise. So just put that on there, spread it around in a layer. Just a thin layer. It doesn't have to be a big, real thick layer. Just a thin layer of that sauce. Then just keep doing the same thing until you're out of it. Tortillas and sauce, and then tortillas and sauce. And that's all we're gonna do is layer that in till this is all gone, till all our sauce is gone. Alright, so I'm on my last layer right now. The last layer of tortillas. I'm just going to put these on here. And I've got just enough sauce left to cover the top of it. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough to cover the top. Also, I usually end up with leftover tortillas, which that's okay using for something else. And also, I've done it before where I didn't have quite enough sauce left to cover the top. So what I would do is just do a little splash of chicken broth in there, or water, or milk, just to loosen it up enough so that you can get a good even thin coat on top of those tortillas, so they're not just dry. So let's see if I did enough of that. Splashed it all over me again. I really need to wear an apron at all times. Really, really do. This spoon is so good for getting all the stuff out of the pot. He actually calls them a spatula, and I see why. Because of the shape of it, it mimics a spatula. I'm just used to calling my roux spoons a roux spoon. But the shape of this, I guess, would be more of a spatula.
Spatula.
That's right, Booger said spatula. I'm going to cover this with foil. And I'm going to bake it in the oven. I'm going to start with 45 minutes because I think that's about how long I usually cook. I really go off of when it starts bubbling. When the edges start bubbling and when you take the foil off and you see it bubbling around, then that's when I take the foil off and cover it with cheese and bake it some more. So in the oven at 350 for about 45 minutes. All right, so I baked that for 45 minutes. I was on the phone with my mom. She's in there talking to Booger on the phone now because she didn't want to be on camera, talking on the phone on camera. So now I'm just going to cover this with cheese. I've got a combination here. I've got half of a bag of shredded Colby Jack and a half a bag of shredded cheddar. So that's what we'll be using. You can use whichever kind of cheese you want. Just put that on there, cover the top of it. Alrighty. Alright, now I'm just going to put this back in the oven for another 10 minutes. Alright, well there you have it. Mexican chicken and dumplings. Or as my friend calls it, chicken enchilada casserole. I did not remember her recipe, and this is what I came up with. So I call this Mexican chicken and dumplings. I baked it originally for 45 minutes. Covered at 350. I took the top off and then covered it in cheese. Baked it another 10 minutes till it got golden bubbly around the edges. I put some fresh tomatoes and green onions on top of mine. And you could certainly add tomatoes to this, or bell pepper, or corn, or all sorts of things that you could add to it to make it yours. But anyways, Booger's right here playing around. Me and him are going to go sit down and eat dinner, and then I'm going to wash these dishes. Thank y'all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. You want to say bye, Booger?
Bye.